Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And I'm up today with wreaths, and I'm doing them a different way because what I've done is I've cut them but I haven't yet poked them out. So we're going to see if they work. Right, yesterday I shared my haul and I had some fruit, but while I was playing around I decided I put a little heart-shaped dewdrop on top of there. I did a little strawberry and I just glittered up the bottom of it. Now I only cut this twice. You get 3 pieces and I put the 3 pieces through twice. I would probably do it 3 or 4 times so that you get something that looks nice and full. But I really enjoyed making that. It was fun. So I'm just moving that out of the way. And let's bring in the wreaths. I'm going to do some poking. Now the first one, this one, I haven't snipped those bits off yet. I've got my doodah here. And I certainly don't want to twang the camera. But anybody that's new to AliExpress dies, a lot of them are not cut apart for you. So you have to do it yourself. Right, so that's gone from there. Now I'm going to use my poke tool. This bow goes with this wreath. And there are 3 that I purchased in total. I think I did get all of them. So I've just cut these in white. So that is the bow. So the bow is lovely. And I chose to use really heavyweight cardstock. Now, the reason I chose that, of course, is because when you're cutting delicate things, it's not always easy to do with heavyweight cardstock. You're better off going with a much softer, medium weight cardstock. But I figure if it'll go through on my real thick stuff, then it's going to go through on anything. And, oh, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Each one of these I've put through and then back again. So forward and back. Which I guess gives a total of 2, doesn't it? So I just want to poke some of these bits to see what we've got. And I don't want to take up tons of time, but I do like to show you that stuff works. So getting all those little bits out of there. And when you've got stuff that's like sticking up in the air, you can actually get your poke tool and go under. But when you've got little strands like that, be really careful. So I'm going to do this. And of course you can poke in other ways. Like when this comes out, I can just lie this piece flat onto the table and then poke it out. But I'm really impressed that it did totally cut around the outside, freeing it from the paper. So I'm just going to move that set over to there. You see how delicate those little strands are? Just really pretty. And these are jingle bells. And sometimes it can be, you know, a lot easier just to put stuff down to the table and poke. So for all you newbies out there who've never done die cutting before, I hope that this is useful. But as I say, with most delicate things I will go back and forth twice. And this appears to be, you know, absolutely stunning. It's almost like a bird's nest of jingle bells. And you can go in with your paints, your markers. And I think on the Piggy store this is just completely cut out in silver. And it does look stunning. So we can see here as I manipulate, I've got it quite close to the table because I don't want to bend anything up. You see that? I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll quickly pause and continue to poke the rest because a lot of you know all about poking out dies. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've done that and you can see that it cuts and pokes out absolutely beautifully. Now you could do that in watercolour if you wanted to, you know, go over the entire thing in a silver watercolour and then just pick out those little strands in an icy blue or something. But it's just so pretty, and of course it looks great white as well. So you've got your little bow that you can pop onto there, or put it wherever it is that you want to. Could even go here, I guess. But there's so many delicate little elements in it. Like, I just spotted one that I found quite fascinating. I know I can be odd at times, but like that little bell that's just hanging in that loop. I just love little details like that. So that is the Jingly Bell wreath and bow. So I'm going to move that one. And then this one, and I think I'm going to colour this one. And I'll colour it in a minute, which is why I'm going to try and hurry up and poke it out. This one shouldn't be so difficult to poke out. And you can see that I didn't actually separate the bow from the rest of it. I just went through twice. And it seemed to be doing okay. I just saw that hanging. There we go. So that's a loopy loppy bow. But let's have a look at this. And this is one of those like prim pip berries wreaths. And so you just want to go in and kind of get enough where you can see if you can get your poke tool under and give yourself a start. Because even though I will poke through the back of a die, my favourite is to just take the whole piece and pop it down on the table, because I find I don't you know, bend things up as much, and you can be a lot firmer because you can pick the wreath up to you as you're poking. But look at that, isn't that pretty? So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to pause while I finish poking, so I'm not torturing you, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I finished poking this one, and you can see, let's get as close as we can. I'm going to find the sweet spot. I think that's it. But we've got all those lovely berry details. And that is the bow that goes with it. So you could have that at the top, or you can have it at the bottom. Entirely up to you. Although I think it's likely to fit a card better if you like pop it in the centre there. But look at that. Ooh, I'm trying my hardest to get in. There we go. And you can see where some of the paper actually skipped. My cardstock is not expensive heavyweight cardstock, and it will shatter, so that's what happens with that. And then this is the one that I shared with you yesterday, which I believe is poinsettia. I'm not entirely sure. It has got an olive leaf vibe to it as well. And this one comes with a tiny little set of jingle bells, which goes with that bow. I'm putting all my scraps there, and I'll throw them away in a second. So let's just give this a poke. And then I should be able to get my nail under there. So we've got a little bow, and we've got little jingle bells that go with this. But once again, you've got to get it started. And I like to pick a good corner and then get my finger under, and then very gently just prise it. Now I don't think that there's really anything to poke out on this one. I see a couple of little spots here. Just move that around. Yeah, there's not a lot of poking out on this one. A little bit there, and what have we got here? Not sure, but I think that's basically it. Yeah. So that one's a real quick one, isn't it? and you can just flip it over. Sometimes you get little bits stuck and just scrape those off. But that's a really easy one to colour in using your markers. You know, you can go in 3 shades of green and then just dot all your berries. So I actually think that that's either mistletoe or some kind of holly berry. I guess it's whatever you want it to be. But you've got a little bow, and you've got... So I had to cut my nails off because they kept splitting. There we go. So that's another really pretty one. But I want to colour this one in. So I'm just moving all of my stuff across here so I can sweep it off into the garbage. I'm just going to grab a couple of markers and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my little scruffy mat down, and that's the one that I want to colour in. I'm using my white artistro if I want to put any highlights in. I'm using a tri-blend Spectrum Noir. This is the dark red blend, and also I'm not sure what this one is. This is also tri-blend, and this one's extra brown earth blend. So those are the two that I'm deciding to use. Now I'm going to go in with light first, and I wish that this was a bristle one because you get it done a heck of a lot faster. But I've had these pens for such a long time now that I need to use them up. You know, they're kind of like from the days of Tuesday morning. Oh, what wonderful days they were too. I used to love going in there at the weekends and just finding all of the scrapbook paper. They had such a great crafting section. Now you'll notice that I'm also colouring the wreath, which is those like little branches underneath it. That doesn't bother me because I'm going to go in and touch those up in a bit. But just so that you're not suffering, I've done a little bit here. I'm going to finish colouring this in red. The whole thing will be exactly the same as the bit that I've done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's done, and as you can see there are still a few kind of white bits showing through because I've used white cardstock. Now you can of course use colour cardstock, although I'm never really successful colouring with it because it tends to be a lot more fibrous and a softer pulp within the paper, and you can find that your alcohol ink markers will just really bleed rather than putting down a straight line, if you know what I mean. So that's what I've got so far, and now the reason I use the light red is because I want to use the mid brown, and I want to see what that looks like in case I need to go darker, but I think that's going to be okay. So I'm just pulling out, I'll pick it up and show you all of the little straight pieces. And that's what I'm doing. So anything that looks like it's a little branch, I'm going in and I'm putting my brown down. I know that doesn't look very good at the moment. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll come back when I've done all my little brown bits. Okay, so that's done, and it's getting very dark here. I think we're going to get some rain. Now, I'm using the darkest shade now, and I'm just going to hold the wreath down, and I want to go all the way around the edge of this. I'm just not drawing onto the actual shape. I just want to catch the edge. Because, of course, if you try to ink something like this up using your blending brush, it's going to be dreadfully fiddly. So it's just better to do it with something like this. And then when you finish doing that, we are then going to go in with our dark red. So I'm just, you know, really just wanting that on the inside because it gives it a little bit of depth. I think one of the nicest things, you know, when we're making cards and stuff is that you can take as much time as you want. And it's, you know, it's totally your creation. So I have now met myself in the other direction, and you can see it's now a lot darker on the inside. Now I do need to clean that brown up, so I've got my bit of baby wipe here. Just going to take that off. And then all of these lovely berries that are in pale red, I'm now going to use my darkest shade, my darkest red, and I'm going to decide which way am I having it. I think like that would be nice. Okay, so here we go. And you can, of course, skip a few, which I might do, and leave some a lot paler in colour. I actually missed a bit of branch there. And I'm quiet because I'm having fun. So we're going to leave some pale ones. We're going to have some darker ones. So I'm going to go darker red there and there. Maybe there. I'll do that one as well. Just so you've got little highlighted bits as you go around. And then I'm going to use my white pen. So what I'll do is I'll finish going around this exactly as you've just seen me do, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did that, but I've decided, as you can see, that I'm going in with darker brown on my little twiggy bits because I quite like it. I just think it gives it a little bit more depth. And this is one of those things that you could, if you wanted to, skip bits so that you have got lighter brown going on. But I've decided I'm quite happy with this. And I'm just looking at what looks like branches and what doesn't, because I know that I missed a few last time. I can see these little pieces that come off the edges. Yeah, I'm just having a good look. I think I like that. So I'm going to be happy with that. Hope you can see it. And we're going to add some white. So I'm just going to clean my mat again. I do love my little scruffy mats. I've got several of them, but they last you for years. I'm just going to pop that down now. I do love the different tones of the berries, and hopefully my white pen is still working because I haven't used it in a while. And you will see that a lot of these berries have got little dots on them, so you can just go into those if you choose to, or you know, just in general pick where you want to be. You can use a sparkle pen instead of white if you wanted to. But I really like this. I'm going to have to grab a sheet of white cardstock in a second so that you're able to get, you know, a better look at what's gone on. Oh dear. That's not my doctor, that's all I can say. I'll be right back. Okay, that's all done. That was my husband. Right, so we're just finishing off the little white dots. And I think I've got a sheet of white cardstock to pop this onto. I mean, you know, I know we use markers and whatnot, and it might look fiddly, but that was so easy to do. And that could even be a sparkly pen that you've chosen to use, you know. I could actually go over those white bits with my silver, and I've had this silver pen for such a long time, and they really are worth the money. I must have had this one 4 years maybe. So you don't have to do all of your dots, you can just do a few. But just so that when you've the lighting is terrible. I think we're about to get a thunderstorm. So I'm going to try and pop this on white cardstock just so that you can see. But I'm going to leave it like that. And pray my internet doesn't go out. Oh, let's find a sweet spot. There we go. But there is sparkle on there, but I don't think there's enough brightness to show you it. But look at how quick and simple that was. It's just such a pretty die. And you've got that lovely little bow, which would probably look nice just coloured in the mid-red with that marker. But as I promised, they all work. They all cut out and they all poke out beautifully. And that one is just absolutely stunning. I thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll be up with even more on Friday. As usual, all links below. Bye.